Good morning, everyone. Just allow me to share my screen and make sure things fine. Mark, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see the slide. It's not in presenter mode yet, but yeah, there it is.
Amazing. All right, thank you. Well, again, good morning. The agenda for today is really introductions about ourselves, introductions about FactSet as a whole, as a company, as its history, what FactSet does to help its client locally, regionally, and globally to run their businesses and hopefully make money out of our systems. But also we'll dive a bit deeper in a raging topic currently. Everyone is coming to us for this specific topic, and basically data and how data is consumed, the different technologies, how data is handled, what type of data, the scope of data that you can get to run your businesses. My name is Tariq Touma. I'm the VP and head of the new business team in FactSet, covering Middle East and Africa. On the call as well as my colleague Mark Bokma, who's our senior specialist of our what we call CTS business unit, which stands for Content Technology and Solutions. And the second part of the presentation, he will dive deeper a bit more on the data and the API and the data feed aspects of FactSet. Right, so FactSet. Now, before we start, the way we approach things is really by understanding what our clients' needs. We call them challenges, obviously, but what do you need, Mr. and Mrs. Client, right? What are things that you need to be solved? Obviously, number one, it's been a while now. It's really the cost pressure. Getting things done, you need investment. Whether it's 10x investment or 100x or even just 1x investment needs to be really calculated to reach your solution, right? And number two is really technology innovation. The things we do things today is completely different than what we used to do 10 years, 20 years ago, and this is changing at a fast pace per se, right? And then the volumes of data. Everyone has access to data. That's not the issue. It's really how to structure that data to help you in your business is key. And then finally, obviously, the different regulatory challenges, the compliance challenges, and the many countries, the many areas, the geographies that your business operates in. And this is what FactSet really looks to solve. Now, what's the mission of FactSet? It's a long statement, but it is really what we do. We solve our clients' challenges with the power of collaboration. What does that mean? It means that we sit with you, we understand what is it that you need, what is it that you're trying to solve, and we work towards that. We consult. If we can do it, we'll tell you we can do it. We'll tell you who can. We'll try to work with you to create something maybe that hasn't been done yet. But this is exactly our philosophy, is to sit with you, collaborate with you. What is it that you're looking for? And we deliver. So what's our advantage? We call it our advantage, but it's really our core business focuses that FactSet operates in. First and foremost is financial data, right? So in a few slides, I'll be talking about the history of FactSet and how we reach today. But FactSet at its core is all about financial data, okay? We upload more than 3 million client portfolios on a daily basis onto our systems, right? We have access to all the fundamentals of all listed companies worldwide, private markets, real estate, mergers and acquisitions, you name it. Any financial data you might think of is present within the FactSet ecosystem. So that's really our core and how FactSet started. Now, the bread and butter, historically at least, of what FactSet is really its analytics engines, right? We have our own portfolio management systems and solutions used by all the sovereign wealth funds of the world, the biggest pension plans of the world, asset managers, etc., and so forth. And they use these engines to really manage their portfolio and take decisions appropriately. So this is really the strength of FactSet historically. Now, technology is the new kid in town, right? And this is where Mark will dive deeper a bit later on. So technology is really, okay, we have the data. How can we consume this data? In different ways, right? Off platform, rather than simply in a box that allows us to run analytics. And this is really the raging topic for the last 5 years now, and even more so last year within FactSet specifically. And finally, services, where we actually, as I said, partner with our clients, understand what it is, and we implement based on your needs. So no implementation is similar to the other. We really customize what we bring to the table specifically to our clients' needs. Some of the awards, I'm not going to go through them, but FactSet is awarded globally. As I said, you see first and foremost, best analytics provider. This is really our core strength per se. We have, a risk management technology and solutions. We have performance and attribution engines. Some other awards, client service solution, as I said, the way we implement and customize our projects to your needs is extremely important per se. Now, few figures and numbers we're very proud of. Since its inception in 1978, there has not been a single year where FactSet didn't grow financially and in its number of clients. It's been 42 plus years now. Every single year is a growth year for FactSet. The number we're most proud of is 95% of all our clients, when they start using FactSet, they stay with FactSet. They see the value. That's the point of it, right? They see why we're paying for FactSet, because the return on investment is so much higher than what we're paying for it. And we're present in 63 offices around 24 countries. The office in Dubai covers Middle East and Africa. We do have an office in Johannesburg that reports back into the office of Dubai. And the team in Middle East and Africa is about 25 to 30 employees. I went through that, that's fine. Right, this is a rather important slide. I'm gonna spend 2 minutes here. It's really the history of innovation of FactSet. So FactSet is a multinational company. We're listed on the NYSE exchange with about 10,500 employees worldwide. Now, FactSet started in 1978 by two ex-Wall Streeters, and more specifically, quant engineers. And the reason they started FactSet is really because they were fed up from getting information from 4, 5, 6 different providers. They wanted everything into a single system so they can compute it, do the work. And this is how FactSet was created. Now, why do I tell this story? Because the nature of that is still valid today. FactSet is an open network system, unlike many of its competitors, right? We absolutely do not care where the data comes from, as long as our clients are happy with the data. Even some of our clients upload their own proprietary data onto our systems. Now, obviously, as things evolved, we started having our own data sets. And, two that are now considered the benchmark of data sets worldwide are FactSet Fundamentals, which are a consolidated financials of all publicly listed companies through a FactSet format, so our clients can compare, apples to apples. And then FactSet Estimate, which is the broker consensus and forward-looking data of all estimates functions that is now owned by FactSet. So these are really the benchmark data sets that FactSet has now and is really known of. Now, as I said earlier, what is historically FactSet is known for is really its analytics engine, right? So we started developing our own portfolio management systems, whether it's holdings-based, whether it's returns-based, where our clients, upload their holdings in an automated fashion onto our engines and run really, exposure reports, contribution reports, 2-factor, 3-factor Brinson reports, risk management, liquidity assessment, etc., and so forth, right? So this is really how FactSet in the market is known for. Now, the major shift that FactSet did was maybe around 7 to 8 years ago now, where we moved from simply a data provider into a financial and technology and solutions provider. Why do I say that? Because we did so many acquisitions, I think maybe around 10 or 15 acquisitions in the past 10 years now that today we cover the entire portfolio life cycle, going from a research workflow where we acquired a research management system to automate research generation, dispersion, etc., and so forth, up to maybe a quant workflow where we have our backtesting engines and quant engines, into a creation of a portfolio where we acquired an execution management system called Portware, used by the likes of JP Morgan around the world. And then moving into the workflow of managing the portfolio, which is our in-house built and developed engines, obviously. Next is the middle office workflow, where we acquired Official Performance Reporting Solutions, a company called BISAM. So the system is called B1. And then moving into the client reporting workflow, where we acquired a company called Vermilion. And the system creates and automates the entire fashion of client statements, fact sheets, portfolio assessment, reports, etc., and so forth. All of that is completely automated, no manual intervention per se. And the most recent acquisition that FactSet, well, one of the most recent acquisitions that FactSet did is a digital company called IDMS that is now rebranded FactSet Digital Solutions. And what we do is we create systems and portals and platforms for our clients. 3 examples I can give you. A private bank institution would come to us and says, okay, look, guys, I have 3,000 private bankers, and I want them to be able to access equity financial data through our intranet. Can we create something? We create a portal, widgets, information linked to their intranet so they can access it. It's a single page that they can use. This is example number 1. Example number 2, an asset manager would come to us and says, okay, guys, look, I want to give my clients access to their portfolios so they can view their performance, their P&L, they can chart it, they can read some reports. We create that portal for them, completely white labeled, corporate logo, everything, username, password, and they can access it. Third example, a government entity would come to us and says, okay, guys, look, I want to link financial data with AI, with machine learning, and create a certain output. Perfect. We create that for them. All 3 examples are live examples in the region and globally. And then finally, again, the raging topic really is data, right? And the different types of data. And in FactSet created a marketplace of data where third-party providers input their data onto our marketplace. We run the concordance for our clients to simply consume the data and take away that headache. And again, Mark will dive deeper into that. And this is how FactSet is today, right? A financial technology and systems and solutions provider. You know, we talk a lot about data, right? So we obviously have our proprietary sets. We have third-party data sets and providers. We have client portfolios, client data that is uploaded onto the system, right? So there's so much data. The idea is really how to integrate that data to work for you, and how to manage that data and seamlessly integrated, automated, whether it's, you know, cloud, whether it's local storage, etc., and so forth. And obviously, how to consume it. You know, what are the different ways to consume this data, right? Through a workstation, through a mobile, through data feeds, through API, etc., and so forth. And this is what I was talking about, the portfolio lifecycle, right? We spoke about this a bit earlier. As you can see on the front office, we cover solutions for various workflows, the research workflow, the portfolio construction, trading. Also on the middle office, you know, risk management, we have our own risk models. Also third-party risk models, the likes of MSCI Bara, Northfield, Axioma, etc., and so forth. And obviously performance and attribution, what FactSet is really known for, and the reporting side and the analytics of it. We come back to this point quite often, but it's important. It's really about technology and how flexible we are. We're an open network. We can give you access to this data wherever you are. You know, whether it's a workstation, download it on 1,000 PCs if you want. That's fine. It's not a desk sitting in the corner. You know, digital solutions, you want to customize something for you, we do that. Mobile, tablet, And obviously, the lower part of this slide is more on a larger scale. What are you looking for? Enterprise hosting, we do that. What is it that you need? You know, data fed into system X, another data into system Y, third data into Z, we do that, no problem. So this is really how we partner with our clients, is through technology. My part is the boring part. You know, this is a quick overview of what FactSet is. You know, I thank you for giving us the time this morning, and you know, I'll pass it through to Mark, which is really, you know, the main focus and the exciting part of this presentation. Mark, I'll stop sharing.
Thank you, Tarek.
One thing to add. Obviously, you know, any topic you'd like to dive deeper in, you know, I'm more than happy to, you know, have follow-up sessions with anyone. So if there's a specific subject that you heard me talk about today and you'd like to understand a bit more about, no problem, we can definitely help you with that and definitely set up follow-up sessions. But again, for today's focus, we'll go into the content technology overview with Mark. Mark, I can see your screen.
Excellent, thank you, Tarek. Yeah, thank you for the introduction earlier, but I'll just kind of recap and explain a little bit about the area I focus on within FactSet. My name is Mark, and I'm part of the content and technology solutions team, covering items like data feeds, API, cloud-based solutions. And today I want to discuss just that exactly. So I'll start with the technology side of things. How do clients connect with FactSet Data? And afterwards, I'll talk about the content that's available in a bit more detail than what Tarek did. Yeah, like what Tarek mentioned as well, I'm based in Dubai. I'm currently in the office in the DIFC in the Al Fatan Towers. So I'm close by to everyone in the region. Now I'll talk about the strategy, FactSet strategy as well, but specifically focusing on our technology side of things. So FactSet has the strategy to build the leading open content and analytics platform that delivers differentiated advantages for client success. Now we divide that into 3 pillars. First one being that we over 40 years built a franchise around our capabilities in the tech space. Having a broad and connected content suite, having a digitalized workflow, and catering to the entire portfolio lifecycle, from research to investments to back office solutions, etc. A second pillar is our consistent R&D spend and investment plan. We have a 3-year investment plan launched last year as well. This is the 2nd year in which we are investing in specific areas that is, for example, the content side of things. So we are, while we have a broad set of core data, are now investing even more in private markets, in deep sector data, and in ESG. We are investing more and more in technology, right? Think of cloud-based solutions, partnering with the different cloud providers, but also launching a whole suite of APIs. And finally, people is part of our investment plan. Now, the 3rd pillar in our digital strategy is essentially our own digital transformation. In the past, we used to use sort of homegrown technology to run our business, but we are now moving away from that and relying on the premier enterprise solutions essentially in this space. Think of Salesforce, think of Workday, and we are partnering with AWS, not only to make our data available, but also to store our own data as we are moving to the cloud ourselves as well, similar to our clients. Now, the FactSet platform, specifically on the data side, is really almost like a building made of building blocks. I think this slide represents this well, and I'll start kind of at the bottom of this slide because it all starts with data, whether that's FactSet data, whether that's third-party or our clients' data. This is really the raw layer, if you will, where feed solutions come into play. A sort of a level up is the API layer, where we start to add a layer of technology onto our data, making it easy for clients to consume through APIs. Again, connecting different content sets through APIs. A third layer is the widget layer, and this is where our digital solutions come into play as well. Tarek mentioned an example of an intranet page or like a broker portal. We can embed our widgets into that. If clients have an example for, say they want to have a chart, a simple price chart, you know, why would you start building that yourselves if you can just plug it off, grab it off the shelf from FactSet and plug it into your portal? So these are really building blocks of a website. And then finally, the portal layer on top, which is, you know, the FactSet workstation, our web a portal of the workstation, and obviously our apps on iOS and Android. Diving in deep further into our data delivery strategy, we really want to be agnostic in the way we deliver data to our clients. So again, we integrate our own data, third-party benchmark providers in real time, add a layer of concordance to it to make sure all the data sets are connected. This is essentially the glue that sticks everything together. And then, yeah, making it available through all kinds of sort of delivery platforms, whether that's cloud, whether that's a local, you know, a lot of our clients still prefer a local storage of content, you know, a relational database, or yeah, finally through APIs. And I'll dive a bit further into the API section right now. FactSet's API offering can roughly be sort of segmented in 4 different types of APIs. First, we have the content side of things. So that's an area I look mostly after, where we have a specific API for each content set. So think of an API that fetches end-of-day pricing, company fundamentals, company ownership data. Next up, we have the analytics suite of APIs, essentially an API that connects to our analytics engine, calculating portfolio analytics, doing model portfolio calculations or risk exposure. And then finally, the third and fourth categories, if you will, are more around the functional side of things, you know, powering digital platforms or having a utility function, such as a book builder API for our investment banking clients to help them easily generate pitch books. Diving in a bit further in the APIs, you know, and you know, what are our design principles essentially, and what are the reasons that clients choose FactSet's APIs? All of our APIs are built around the Open API specification, essentially the industry standard when it comes to, you know, how APIs are designed. They follow a content-oriented design, meaning, you know, an API for each content set. So you only tap into the data that you really need, and essentially also pay for the data that you really need. Yeah, some other characteristics are more on the technical side. The output is a JSON response, very easy to work with, very malleable. We have a set of public documentation and usage transparency. This is very important for our clients because, again, the cost aspect is important to everyone. You want to make the most out of your subscription, out of your agreement, and having that transparency about usage is very important to us and to our clients. Getting a little bit more technical again, how does a typical content API request look like, right? You know, we cater to, if I look at the client request side of things, the top of the screen, we cater to post and get methods, Clients connect to our host api.factset.com, and this example specifically looks into the content side of things. So I mentioned those 4 pillars. This is the first one, and then yeah, we have an endpoint for each content set, right? On the response side of things, this request would hit our servers. We would send back a JSON response, which you see in the black box listed. And then, yeah, from that point onwards, clients receive it, process it, it hits the client server, and clients process this downstream in their models, in their internal databases and analysis. But again, the product is not just an API. I mentioned the public documentation that we have available on the developer portal, a public website where you can explore live documentation, view all the request response models, have a sandbox try it out functionality, so you can try out your codes without actually hitting our server, saving a lot of usage essentially. Yeah, again, monitoring usage and a whole range actually of examples of code snippets in Python, in C#, in R, sample Jupyter notebooks. So we really want to help our clients get going, providing transparency and all the tools that they need. I'll move on to some of the other technical solutions that we partner with. When it comes to the cloud space specifically, we partner with the likes of Snowflake and AWS. All of our content is available on their marketplace. Clients nowadays expect the data coming to them, so they expect a marketplace to simply contain all the data, sort of a click and play, and as a switch of a button, the data is readily available to them. And yeah, the likes of Snowflake and AWS really handle all the ETL for our clients as well. Some other examples on this slide, Salesforce I mentioned already, but Microsoft as well. We partner with Azure on that front, but also through Teams and through the entire Office suite, having our add-ins in both Excel, Word, and Outlook. And then finally, on the technology side of things, a mention of our Exchange Databeat solution. We connect with over 200 exchanges worldwide to receive data across different asset types. We receive that, normalize it, and send it back to our clients. One of the examples of this Exchange Databeat solution is actually something you can see if you kind of look out the window, if you are in the DIFC area, with the ticker screens, right? Which are powered by FactSet Exchange Databeat solutions, displaying data for equity prices, commodities, Bitcoin, or other cryptocurrencies, as well as news. This all connects through an API, including real-time ticking data, but also historical data on a tick basis, which we ourselves store on AWS and make available to our clients. So this is in a nutshell, on the technology side of things, our solutions ranging from an out-of-the-box solution as the workstation on the one hand, and on the other end, our APIs and data feed solutions when it comes to more raw data that our clients want to embed into their models. And I'll now move over to the content side of things. At FactSet core is data integration, and we are the industry leaders when it comes to acquiring, integrating, and managing client and third-party content. FactSet has about 10,000 employees, and for reference, about 1,500 of those are engineers, and more than half of the employees are actually content collection. So we have over 14 global data centers worldwide storing that data, and we provide data through over 850 third-party providers. as Tarek mentioned, we collect data ourselves as well, from fundamentals to ownership to estimates. Yeah, and to give another example, just here, which I mentioned at the beginning, right, around ESG, we acquired an ESG provider through Value Labs, but at the same time, we want to be agnostic and provide a whole range of providers. So the likes of MSCI, ISS, we onboard on the platform as well. So clients can basically pick and choose and have one vendor to partner with for all their different data needs. Yeah, and zooming into the third-party side a bit more, all of this is available on the FactSet Marketplace, a public website again, over 100 different content sets, categorized by different themes. Again, ESG being one, but also news, the company insights. And these are all of our third-party providers, which we provide in a feed. And what does this provide to our clients? Well, it's essentially one company to deal with, one contract, one symbology, and one one vendor essentially from which you get all the data. Again, we make sure that everything is connected and stitched, and this really saves our clients a lot of time in onboarding the data and making it more efficient to start analyzing it. I mentioned the data connectivity a couple times. FactSet has more than 40 years of experience in aggregating connecting data, both structured and unstructured, through desktop analytics, mobile apps, data feeds, APIs. And almost like the byproduct of this expertise is our entity-centric data architecture, known as data management solutions, or DMS. Now, through DMS, FactSet empowers enterprise data management, risk analytics, regulatory compliance, and quantitative research, and it really allows for limited levels of viewing an enterprise, viewing it at the very top. Who is the holding company, all the different underlying entities of a company, the different listings of a company, both equity or its bond issuance, or who are the individuals linked to a company, who are the board of directors, who's the CEO. So everything is connected through our symbology. And providing another example of that, there's a lot going on in this slide, but it essentially tells you to how move up and down through different layers of an organization. Whether you want to look at an entity level, connecting the financials, connecting maybe ownership data, to security level data. What are the prices traded on an exchange? What are the asset classes? And linking that back to third-party data as well, right? Whether that's regulatory, whether that's from an ESG perspective or news. So summarizing, there's a whole world of data to discover. I would recommend to have a look at our marketplace, have a look at our catalog. Everything is organized by different thematics. We have sample data as well. We have links to our developer portal for the APIs. So there's a whole range to discover. We want to become, or we are the open platform when it comes to content and analytics. So there's a whole lot to explore there. Yeah, this concludes my part. Any questions? Feel free to indeed post them in the chat box. Reach out to us directly. We're happy to help.
We'd love to hear feedback as well if it's not questions. So.
I see a hand raised by Kenneth.
Oh, hi there, Mark.
Hi, Kenneth. Good morning.
Hey, how are you? We are running trade finance platform. Our primary customers are those like selling on Amazon or Shopify. I was just wondering if you guys cover any SME data as well. The first question. The second question is that because we're dealing with some kind of like sole traders, as you probably know that in some certain countries, for example, India, Pakistan, Russia, the data couldn't be offshore for individual data. I was just wondering if you guys have any like solution for that.
Yeah, thanks, Kenneth. That's a very interesting question. To the first part, data for like SMEs or private company, FactSet does have a private company content set. We do partner with third-party providers as well, as they might focus on some more niche areas or some more alternative data. If there is a specific region you focus on, do you focus on a specific region, or?
We currently just focus on China and Vietnam because there are more like e-commerce sellers from this region. Right.
If you don't mind, I'd like to follow up on that. There's so much content almost to plow through, but I can maybe have a look at our specific coverage for that region when it comes to our private company data, because we are investing a lot in that content set as well, so it's ever expanding. And your second question was more around offshore data, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, because one of our customers, we have actually 2 transactions was actually involving into like a Indian buyer, but it was like there's some kind of like non-performing assets, right there, and we actually reached out to TransUnion, but TransUnion was just telling us that because we don't have an Indian entity and they can't deal with us, just because like the buyer is actually like kind of like sole traders type of buyers.
Right. So you're more looking for entity level data in that sense?
Yeah, we do. We want that as well. I'm sure that for companies level, it should be fine. But because in e-commerce, like in this sector, there are so many like sole traders, like just one man brand, and then they also running their own stuff on YouTube and TikTok. They're selling their products. So that's the stuff. Like I was just wondering, like FactSet would do with something like that, or you just completely like just waive just don't want to deal with any like individuals or retail consumer data.
Yeah, I think an example I can think of is our kind of entity level data connecting different entities worldwide. It would probably be best to look at a specific example that you have in mind. So again, if you don't mind, I'd love to follow up on this to maybe talk a bit more in detail for your use case, and maybe see if we can help out there.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kenneth.
Cheers, thanks.
I believe we have a few questions on the chat from Sony. So do we get the data for both? Oh, well, actually, is there? And yeah, okay. So thanks. Can we get historical data using the APIs, Mark?
Yes, 100%. Maybe a good comment on that. When it comes to our API usage, we actually look at typically how many securities or how many tickers do you input. We don't typically look at the history that you request. So this is an important advantage I think we have over some of our competitors. But yeah, we do offer that.
Another question is, do we have data for both listed and unlisted entities?
Yep, 100% we do. We have both a FactSet fundamentals looking at public listed companies, but also FactSet private company data. Plus we partner with a whole range of third-party providers that sometimes focus on private company data in more detail. We, for example, partner with Crunchbase in that space.
And the third question, is the data available for all geographies or only a certain geography?
Worldwide, global, yeah.
All right. We have a question from Khaled, actually a couple of questions. Can you have access to ERP systems like Kodat, for example, in the UK, and which platforms you already integrate with? I assume, Khaled, you mean if we integrate with ERPs rather than us having ERPs. So the question is yes, Mark, we do integrate with virtually any third-party system, and yes, we have integrated with ERPs in the past.
Yep, that's right.
And have you worked with venture capital or venture builder for collecting data from ventures under management and share analytics and KPIs for the management as part of operations management or governance? Do we have any venture capital type of data, Mark?
Yes, we do. I'm thinking of a third-party provider that we partner with, VCI, Venture Capital Insights, who actually collect venture capital data. Specifically, they focus on Asia at the moment, but I know they're expanding their content set with more like India and looking at the Middle East as well. So this is one example where they collect data on different series of investments. So I'm not sure if this is the type of information you're looking for, Khaled, but yes, we do partner with companies that collect data on venture capital.
Now, a side note for everyone is that there will be a follow-up email coming out of the FinTech Hive with our presentations and our details. Obviously, please feel free to reach out, and we can take your use cases on a case by case and have the chat and the follow-ups specifically. So a question from Amit: how do you support startups, and do you have a different value proposition for them? Funny enough, one of your I would say ex-FinTech Hive colleagues a few years back actually signed up with us. Not to name any names, but yes, to answer your question, we do see a value in investing early with obviously through our services and solutions with startup, and with the hope of expanding and growing as the startup grows. There isn't a pre-built offering for startup, but we do propose aggressive solutions or propositions for startups that we see have an expansion in the near future. Another question from Khaled. Also, can I use the data, I assume, in real time or near real time, for example, to analyze data coming from data probes in mobile telecom operators? Now, obviously the first part, yes, we do have real-time data. I'm not sure if we do have, the data specifically on data probes and mobile telecom operators. I'll refer back to you, Mark.
Yeah, let's follow up on this because it's quite specific, and then we can, provide a proper response. I'm
loving the questions.
Yeah,
I've been doing this session now for maybe 3 years. This is the most questions we ever had. So thank you. Thank you for being engaged with us. So another question, do you provide free trial for testing? Yes, we do. And there is a process to go through that, obviously. There is an NDA that needs to be signed, or a free trial agreement that needs to be signed. Obviously, we need to sit and understand the use case, the needs and the requirements, and then we can move towards the free trial. And the last question from Sonny, who do we reach out for potential partnership related queries? As I said, Yasmin, I think we'll send out a follow-up email with our details. Please feel free to reach out, and we can direct you based on the use case. I know we're 2 minutes above. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Yasmin, for being patient with us.
Are you mute?
I think you're on mute,
Yasmin?
So Yasmin, we can't hear you. No.
Not yet.
We can do it before, right?
Maybe while Yasmin is connecting, I saw a final question coming in from Sony around the sandbox environment. Yeah, the developer portal that we offer is a perfect example of that. where we offer this sandbox environment for clients to test out request response models for APIs. So yes, we do offer that. I would encourage you to take a look, and if you want to learn more, feel free to reach out to us.